Yo, you never seen black light. Black
See
like
this black light, black girls, front porch, braiding hair, stay still stay, inhale, breathing in, gelled up, weaved up, ashy knees, greased up, freeze pops, the block high, head shots, don't freeze.
Well, welcome to another episode of Black Boy Lost. I'm Black Boy, I'm lost. We're going to explore everything from spirituality, toxicity, sexuality, and all the many things that make a black boy into a black man. Today with me, I have my best friend, Dilly.
Hi.
Dilly, please introduce yourself.
Like, what do I say? My name or
Just
where I'm from?
Everything.
Yeah. I am a woman.
Okay. Riveting.
I think you know what's crazy? Someone put up a YouTube video today. It's this girl that I like. She's Jamaican. She's in Jamaica, and she wrote her YouTube video came up for me to watch, and it said throwing a tantrum, and the video was of her. She wrote the word tantrum, crushed it up and threw it, and on the video I commented riveting. I haven't used that word or heard that word.
It's a great word.
And you just said it.
It's a great word.
Today I can show you the comment and the
We're
time.
We're all programmed.
Right. So I'm Dilly. I am Jamaican. I think that's like a personality trait. I don't eat meat. I don't know what else to say.
That's a personality trait as well.
Yeah. I tell people a lot.
Yeah.
Can be annoying. Can it be? Does that annoy you?
Yeah, she's one of your normal vegans.
No, that's not true because I'm not full vegan. I love shrimp.
You could see just now from that she's a normal vegan. But she does eat shrimp, so I guess she's a... Are you
Vegan
pescatarian
shrimp.
typically?
Technically, yeah, because I indulge in fish from time to time. Not often, but yeah.
Often
time.
enough. All right, well, this episode isn't going to be about
That.
pescatarianism or fish or anything. The reason I wanted to bring Dilly on is because of her beliefs when it comes to the Catholic Church, and she has a child, so that's a very, very big part, especially with this new generation. So I guess that's the first question I want to ask, which will probably be the question I ask all guests. Did you grow up in church? And if so, tell me about that.
Yes. Yeah, I grew up in the Catholic Church. My grandmother is very Catholic. She never strayed. Like, you can't really say anything to her, like, about anything. If I ever wanted advice, she would just say, talk to Jesus. You know, sometimes that's kind of like, okay. My mother is heavily Catholic as well. And I am not. I strayed from that. I grew up in it. I was, I guess, christened. I don't think they call it baptized, or maybe I'm not sure. It's christened. I took my first communion, and I was confirmed. And when I was able to, I was like, yeah, like, you're gonna wake me up in the morning for Sunday Mass? Nah, hon, I'm sleeping.
Is that the reason you left the Catholic Church? It's too early in the morning? Or what was the reason?
I never really liked going to church. I always thought it was one of the most boring things. I never learned anything. I was just like, this is just irritating to my life. Yeah, I was just never interested in it, and I was just doing it because I was supposed to and I had to, but it was like, don't wake me up for this. I don't care. Yeah.
So you don't go to church now?
I do not go to church.
Is that because of the fact that it's boring, or is there more to it?
I'm saying because I'm thinking. I'm not sure. I know that it was just boring. I got nothing at all from it. When, I'd be told, take it to Jesus, go to church, pray, confess, do all these things. I never thought that it added to my life in any way. I just really thought it was a waste of time.
Okay. So from that question dawns a question I think that is going to be a very popular one on here. Do you feel as though Jesus or God was the waste of time, or religion and them always forcing you to go to God?
I wasn't thinking of Jesus or God or anything.
Well, no.
My
in
grandmother, I just realized quickly she's not the person to go to for advice, like just life lessons or anything. Like when they said the elders can, give you like advice and tell you like a thing, was always just go to Jesus. And I'm like, that's it?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have anything to add to me? Love my grandmother. With the church, no, it was never about Jesus or God. It was just the whole institution, was just weird.
What was weird about it to you?
I do not like certain rules. I do not like being told how to live in a certain way. Granted, I feel like the Catholic Church is much more relaxed than other religions. Like some religions tell women they should only wear skirts, no pants, don't wear gold jewelry, don't wear jewelry, certain things like that. So there were no restrictions like that. But I don't like if you don't do this, you're going to hell. God will sin you. God don't love you. Which God? Whose definition? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and I think that's really the big thing with a lot of people from our generation who have made this large exodus from the church. People have this misconception of God because of what religion presented to them. So we don't know how to build a relationship on our own. And when we learn how, we lean towards spirituality. And a lot of the church kind of shuns that. Like, I'm okay with believing in God, believing there is a God, but I'm not going to do it the way that I was taught. I'm going to build my own relationship. And a lot of people from the church look down upon that.
Right.
Has that been your experience? Do you feel like you, number one, have a relationship? Do you still believe? Tell me where you are.
If I believe in God?
Yeah. Or believe that there is one.
Sometimes that's difficult for me. And it's because that name is so associated with a white man in the sky.
Okay.
So because of that reason, I'm like, I don't know. I would have to, but it's difficult for me to like, okay, well, don't think of it. I don't know. Don't think of it as a man in the sky. I can't think of it as a woman. Like what? So I can't say that I don't believe. Like I want to believe. But then also like, all right, when it comes to religion, it's like I feel like people need something to believe in. They need to be told you shouldn't do this, or I think in yourself,
human nature.
I think in yourself you should know that you should be good and not bad, and I think you know what good and bad is. I think, unless there's perspectives as to what good and bad is.
There is.
Right, but I think people need to believe in something. I believe in myself. I believe in family and love and kindness. I believe in being good. I don't need a religion or a church to tell me how to be or how to this is how you live good. God, and I don't need something to believe in, but I feel like I'd like to believe, but then it's also hard to believe because they say God creates miracles, but damn, there's some really, can we curse?
Yeah.
There's some really fucked up shit in this life.
All the curses.
Where it's like, I curse a lot, so I need that comfortability.
Okay.
That's the word?
Yeah.
Yes, comfortableness.
I don't know if that one's
okay. What was I saying?
God's made some fucked up shit.
Right, like, so and I guess you have to get good and bad, but the way how I see the world now, And I can admit that I do feel things really deeply. Things really bother me. All the evil in the world that's going on, that shit gets to me. And I will sit down and be like, what was the point of any of this? This is crazy. And so it's just like, well, how do you believe in God? Why are all these things happening?
I have a lot of things to say about that. I do agree pretty much wholeheartedly with what you said. I think that's why I have this major issue with church and religion. It's because I don't believe the God that they presented us to be the God that exists. And I think it's kind of a matter, I know I said this in the first episode. My issue with God is all of the issues in the world. I went through a phase where I was like, God is clearly a psychopath. Like, for you to create evil and then tell us to stay away from it, that's psychopathic behavior. Like, if you are the creator of all, you've done all of these things. You made the devil, and then we have to call him the enemy. You created him. These are
free will.
Yeah, but you didn't have to put it here. You did this. And then you tell us that we need to stay away from these bad things, right? Even the Bible says that I've created all the good and all the evil in the world. So that mind can do it, right? But go ahead.
Okay, because I didn't mean to cut you.
No problem.
Because when you brought up the Bible, there's the Old Testament and the New Testament. In the Old Testament, wasn't God a psychopath?
Yeah.
And then they tried to fix him up in the New Testament.
Well,
who wrote this?
So that's another thing for a whole nother episode, because that's a much deeper conversation. That episode I'll probably name Bible 2.0.
And I can't even say that I know much about the Bible. I was so disconnected from everything to do with the church that when I was in Bible studies, I didn't care about what they were saying.
You were there physically.
So, yes.
Yeah. I understand that. It's just, I know a decent amount about the Bible because I was I was like really churchy, not so much churchy, really religious. And
where are
I
you
feel
now?
like I'm not there at all anymore. I am,
Wait, what? When did this occur?
over the past couple years, but again, you'll learn a lot more about that from the first episode and from a lot going forward, all of the conversations I'm going to have going forward. So my thing with God, I'm probably reiterating what I said in episode 1, is I just don't think he's as invested in us as we lead on, which to me is fine. And I would much rather believe that than believe that he's there every day and focused on us every day, but still allowing kids to die from cancer and still allowing mass genocides and still
But it's God's will.
That's why I always say I don't think he's that invested, because
Go ahead.
that's the reason that church folk give you to debate when they no longer have any debate. When my grandfather died, I had a long fight with God for that, because I prayed every day, and I remember holding him before he died and asking God, I might get a little emotional, I'll be fine though, and asking God, listen, if you have to take, literally this was my prayer, if you have to take years off of my life to add it to his, I don't know how this works, can you please do that? He died like a week later. And so when I was speaking to people before that, everybody told me, and by the way, that's the reason I have trouble with, number one, telling people have a safe flight, unless I know you fly often, and also going to visit people in the hospital, because I feel like I was the reason that he passed away. But moving on past that, I would rather believe that God is just, he created the universe to work in a beautiful unison and beautiful harmony, which is why I'm trying to understand the universe, crystals, astrology even. I think he's made all of this to work in harmony so that he doesn't have to step in all the time. Do I feel like he intervenes sometimes? Absolutely. Because I've heard the voice of God before. I genuinely have. But for everything else that surrounds it, it makes me wonder, like, I would rather believe that God is one that's not invested than God is not a good God. Because you can't tell me you're a good God and create evil. create discord and then tell us to avoid it. That doesn't add up to me. So my biggest issue with him is that I think that he created the universe, made everything in a perfect harmony, and then stepped away. And I think that that's fine.
I don't know, cause like, who's the first? Adam and Eve. They're the first people who committed sin.
Biblically, yes.
Biblically,
Yes.
of course. I mean, where in the Bible does that come? That's the beginning, right there, just right there. Sin,
Yeah,
evil.
But then you even look at the sin that they committed. They ate from the forbidden tree.
So why you left that there?
Why put the tree in the garden? Yeah, why do that? Because there is some credit that we give to that we have to give the devil, because he does. I believe in good and evil. I believe that the two exist. I believe that one may not be able to exist the same way without the other. But I believe that the power of good, which is God, is strong and created everything and did not have to present evil as. And I think he was. That's why I was on the whole fence about, is he cynical? Is he a psychopath? Because maybe I'm bored and I'll make this evil thing so I can prove to the world that people will still praise me in spite of the evil that's out there. And I don't want to believe that.
Do you think that maybe God did not make all this? It just happened to be?
See, that becomes a whole nother argument. That becomes almost the argument of, I think it was in Avengers, where they said if you could just make a god bleed, that becomes that, where if we see that God is not the one that created all of this, that would turn the world into a whole nother form of discord.
I think even if people saw, they would not believe that. People need something to believe in, even if it's not
there will still
religion.
there will still be people who believe, but I think once you can see God
That was
bleed,
a false god.
you'll try to kill, or you'll try to become that God. Like, if he's the same as me, I can be him. I don't have to worship this person in the sky.
But also, like, I feel like that's difficult to do. So, for instance, the right word is an issue, but when it comes to prayer, I've never been able to stop praying, which goes against what I believe. If it's in your heart, God already knows. God, see, like, I don't know what else to do. The universe? I don't know.
I think those are one and the same, honestly.
Okay, so you know what's in my heart. So why pray? You're gonna do what you want anyway.
And that's another
So
topic
it's like,
that's gonna come up.
right? So it's really like you say you're in the hospital, or you're in the hospital with your grandfather. You pray, please don't let this happen. Please don't let it happen. Please don't let it happen. Just pray, God. Just pray to God. Pray to God, and pray that he survives. And you know, when he doesn't survive, oh, but that was God's will. So why was I praying? Why was I doing that?
That is going to be the focal point of this entire series. Like, I'm going to break it down into religion, sexuality, toxicity. When I say toxicity, I mean male and female toxicity, masculine, feminine. But that is my main point with this series, is if it's God's will, then why pray?
Right.
And I've had this explained to me a couple times, different ways, but none of them have been satisfactory answers. It's always just like, well, we don't know what God has in store. We don't know God. You don't know anything about him. So why are you in a place to tell me what I need to do in regards to him? And this is my issue with religion. I think that with religion, people get so into the Bible, into Catholicism, into baptism. I don't know.
And see, there's so many religions. How
There's-
do I know which one is the right one?
Right, and Christianity has this many different denominations, but then Judaism has this many, and then I'm just talking about the big three, and is Islam. But it seems as though we're all serving the same God. We're just doing it differently. So why is there an
And
issue
everyone
with
thinks that their way is
that?
right.
Why is there an issue with spirituality if all I'm doing is trying to learn who I am and learn who God is?
I feel like because from pretty much, I would think that everyone alive right now has been taught the same thing. We've just been going on the same course. To divert from that, that's like a hard pill to swallow.
It is.
Yeah. Like
But when you have those, sorry to cut you.
That's okay.
When you have those difficult pills to swallow, what happens is this society, in this society, this generation overcorrects, and I talk about that all the time. When we do that, though, it leads to mass exoduses from the church. It leads to a lot of people breaking away from God, because just like when you look at rape culture, in the 90s, you had Freaknik, you had girls walking down the street being sexually assaulted, but they didn't say anything. No police.
Like when you listen to some of the lyrics from back in the day,
it's really disgusting shit, some of it. But it wasn't a big thing back then. It's just like, oh, this is just how people are.
It is, yeah.
But now when you look back at it, you're like, no, this is wrong. This is craziness. I think it's the same thing with religion. Because we were so invested, when you fall out of it, it's a hard fall. It's a difficult thing to do.
It's like my grandmother. She's not someone who I'm going to, like, I've had when she was younger, so I was younger, I'd have like, no, well, I don't believe this or whatever. And it was hard for her. I mean, in her older age now, I'm still young. I'm not gonna argue with her, but like when she says just pray, okay, I'm gonna pray. She says don't just pray to God, pray to the Holy Spirit. I thought they were the same thing. Okay, that's me. Like, what is this? Okay, I'll pray to the Holy Spirit. She's like, this is who she is, and if that's what makes you happy, I mean, technically I'm lying, but whatever makes you happy. I love you, Gran. With my mother now, I don't speak to her much about this, and she does not engage with me at all, because I will push back till you're off the cliff. And I have a younger brother who she has asked me not to talk to him about anything religious based, because he listens to me, and maybe he'll divert from the church, to which I said, well, if you give him one way and I give him another, like, why shouldn't he question? Shouldn't he then decide what he wants to do? So, furthermore, I have to talk about it if it comes up, because I am who I am as a person. I believe in something, or would I say not believe? I believe in not this. I am going to talk about it.
Okay, so you mentioned that you can't really speak to your brother about it now.
No.
Oh, that
she asked me not to. Well, I do.
Okay, so you have these conversations.
And
with
by
your
the way, I don't push that on him.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't.
If it comes up, I'm not gonna not say.
You just give your side of things. That's fair. So, your Kai, do you mind if I say his name?
No.
Okay. Well, Kai's with your mom, right? He is a star.
Not a runner. A
subscribe to his YouTube channel, by the way.
AE Boss.
Okay. Hear that? Cool.
Yeah.
He's with your mom.
Yes.
Now, my question is, because of your step away from church and her still being in it, how do you feel about her almost pushing that on him? Does she do that? Have you asked her not to?
I wouldn't say she pushes it on him. She just does what she does, and he's involved. And she goes to mass on a Sunday, sometimes even a Saturday, it depends. But there's no Sabbath or anything. It's just, you go to mass on a Sunday, and sometimes they have like evening mass on a Saturday. So if she's going, he's going with her. You might have to edit this out, because I don't remember what I was saying. What was your question?
Oh, that's fine. we leave all that in, all the stuff.
I'm sorry, but like, I'll be forgetting things mid sentence.
So I guess I can ask a more pertinent question.
I remember now.
Okay. Well, address that when they want.
So when he was going, when we decided that he was going to go to school in Jamaica, the school that I decided on, I only decided on this school because it has a good football, not soccer, football, the ball where you kick the ball with your foot. They had a good football program, so we sent him there. And but it's a very Christian school, and whatever. When I was speaking to the principal, my mother and myself, we spoke to the principal. She said, because, it's very important to them, we're a very Christian school. How do you feel about that? I said, I don't like it. I don't care about any of that. However, I do not hide things from my kid. I don't, like, oh, you can't do, well, I mean, not for everything, but when it comes to, let's say, religion, I am very adamant. I tell him I don't believe this. I explain to him why. This is my perspective, experience of how I feel. Mm-hmm. My mother is Catholic, and my grandmother, he's going to get a lot of that. And then now he's at a school that's Christian. So I just explained, I don't hide him from any of that. He's free to go out and learn stuff. He has cousins who are Jewish. He's been to is it a synagogue?
I honestly don't know.
And he's been to the synagogue with them. He's, he experiences right. Different things.
It is, and then Islam is the mosque. So yeah,
right, and he's been to bat mitzvah.
Okay.
Is that for the boy?
Yeah.
Bat?
Bat.
Yes. Bati?
Is it bat mitzvah? So I'll edit that part.
So I do not. I'm trying to find the word, not hide it from him, pull back. I don't know, like not finding the word that I want, but
I think we get the gist though.
Yes, like no, he will decide when he's older what he wants to do, but he knows how I feel about it.
So in the event that he decides that he wants to choose Christianity or choose Catholicism, do you think that will affect your relationship with him?
I hope to God, I hope that nothing affects our relationship. Our relationship. That's mm-hmm. like my best buddy. Like he's my friend for life. So I would hope not. But if he chooses to be a Christian, or I don't even like that. I don't even want to say no offense. I don't care. Or chooses to be in the Catholic Church, I will be very vocal of how I feel and how I get my displeasure. And he would already know that, but I think what it is I do not, I guess it's the opposite of being vegan. I'll be like, I don't eat meat, just so you know, all that you're eating. When it comes to religion, I mind my business. I don't care what you do. But you need to give me the same thing. Don't talk to me about Jesus when you know I'm going to now push back on that. Leave me alone. So that's an issue that I do have with religious people. Leave me be. Leave people who don't believe alone. So if I had a kid who grew up, and if my kid grew up and he decided like, I am this, and Mom, you should go to church, and you should. All right, now we have a problem because you need to mind your business.
We had a conversation off mic about toxicity and learning to grow when it comes to relationships, and I think that that's really pertinent when you speak about religion as well, mm-hmm. because when you grow, I said to you, it's natural instinct to look back, reflect, but then it's human instinct to judge and condemn. And I think that with religion, we do that. Although the same Bible that we're pushing people towards tells us, judge not, that ye be not judged. We'll do it. We'll still go out and judge people and say, oh, you don't believe in God?
Because Christian, like your Christians are the most judgmental. Is
absolutely.
That what you're going? It's okay.
Absolutely. They've been taught not to judge, but they do it the most.
It's
insane.
The hypocrisy.
It's insane. And I think, again, that's why a lot of people run away from the church or avoid it, because I used to hear this in church all the time, but I can get this type of hypocrisy from the world. I don't need to come to see Christians who are the representation of Christ bash me. This is not what I'm here for. And I think that when I talked about off mic, I talked about toxicity. You don't need to just because somebody's not vibrating at the same frequency as you does not mean that you need to completely push them aside or not talk to them or bash them. All that means is that you need to take a step back. And if you don't believe in God or anything, that's fine. But if you decide that you want help on this journey and you want to come down this path, I'm here for you. But I'm not going to judge you about it. I'm not going to sit there and bash you and bring you down.
I mean, I do have a master's at pushing people to the side. I don't want to hear your shit. We could have conversations, but I guarantee you 100% of the time, I am not starting these conversations. I am not, I'd never, this is not on my mind, so it does not come up. So now you want to tell me, I shouldn't do this because Jesus or this Jesus. And I have to say that anytime I've had conversations with the Jesus people, I never end, like they can never give me an answer of anything that I've said. And
because the biggest opposition of religion and faith is logic. And that's something I found, because I and my brother, who's I'm going to have on this podcast as well, are very logical people. And so I'm really interested to see what he has to say about it.
And that's interesting that you say that, because just last night I was thinking that I'm a logical thinking person, but I'm also very, like, I feel like I move with emotion more than anything. Motion. But I feel like I think that logical thinking people are in the minority. There are more stupid people in the world. Intelligent, so you just walk around. But the hypocrisy of Christians is it's deafening, it's blinding, and I'm never. The judgment is. I've had that with family members, and I'm like, oh, so we're just not going to have a relationship. There's nothing fun here. Like, you're not fun.
And
you're not interesting to me.
I don't want anyone to think that this is a podcast to bash Christianity.
I know you have to say that.
Yeah, no. I truly don't want to.
It is true, but you have to say it.
Yeah, I don't want you to think, oh, he's just here to talk to people who want to bash Christianity or had a bad experience with it. These are facts.
You're going to talk to Christians, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to have them on the podcast. I'm not going to attack them. I'm going to ask them the same questions. Now,
because we've had conversations where you were a big believer in God,
and I'm still a huge believer in God.
And you were in the church and everything, and we never argued.
Mm-mm.
We just had our own, perspectives, and we just had conversations. You still believe what you believe, I still believe what I believe, but it was really just good conversation. When you're talking with some of the Jesus people,
it's funny. The reason for that is irony, honestly, because there's a saying, we walk by faith and not by sight, right? The irony of it is that people are blinded by faith. So for you to be walking by this thing and not applying any logic to something, God gave us, if you believe that God created this universe, then you believe that he gave us these minds. These minds, everyone has questioned it to some degree. Even if you push it to the side and say, that ain't nothing but the devil, you've questioned it.
And is the devil real?
I do believe that he is.
Really?
Yes, because I've seen both sides, like with my physical eyes.
Do you believe in heaven and hell?
That one is more complicated to me. Then that's why it's called Black Boy Lost, because I'm still on this journey to try to understand. I also kind of believe in reincarnation. Like, I'm starting to
in what
understand
way?
it.
Like, what do you think? Like, you come back as a fish?
Very, very base level knowledge. I think that spirits live on. And I don't know if you come back as a fish, but I think that you may come back as a person.
You may come back as a person with no
recollection of.
Right, then what does that mean? Like, how do you know that that's you?
Yeah, there's no way to, but there's also no way to prove that there's a heaven or hell, right? And that ties into my whole. I would rather believe God is not in. What's the word I use? Man, my memory is trash.
I think it's
God is
I'm
not.
giving you some bad memory right now.
Oh Lord.
because
he's not invested.
Right, because yeah.
I believe that I would rather believe that than believe that he has unconditional love for us.
Yeah.
But if you mess up, you're going to hell.
Right.
For an eternity. If you mess up with your 80 years...
In the Catholic faith, you can just go and confess to the priest.
I have a problem with that too, and I actually have a person I'm bringing on for that.
I just think that a priest is a person.
He is. And I
God
have so
called
many things.
him and he's doing God's work. Aren't we all?
We are.
Right.
And there's
Do you
so
think
many
we're here
levels
doing
to that.
God's work?
Right now?
Why are we here?
On earth, like, period?
Yes.
That's a great question.
What are we to do? Because this is just my personal thing, not to do with religion. I do have issues with why are we here? My grandmother would say to serve the Lord.
And even that answer
And
is...
I'm like, cut it out.
If that's the answer, that is not a good God.
Well, I'm not doing very well.
Because a good parent is not someone who gives birth to a child so that they can do dishes for them.
That's true.
So that they can do X, Y, and Z for them.
Although it is a plus.
It's a bonus.
Yes.
But that's not why I brought you on this earth. I brought you here to have a full life.
Yeah.
And in that
and
same
what are we
Bible...
to do with that? It's just, we're just living and then we're just gone?
Yeah, and that's why I'm conflicted on heaven and hell.
Yeah.
Because if 80 years of life is what determines my eternity, I don't think that's a good measuring stick. You have 80 years to get it right, but then that same Bible, which is
8 years
thing,
if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
And is that luck?
What?
Do we want to live this whole long life?
Even beyond that, what about the babies that die?
My grandmother, who has been here she's about to be 90. God willing, she's about to be 90. And the way how the world has changed, she's not equipped for it. She's like, I am not for this world anymore. You know, so she'd been ready. So yeah, it's just like, okay, 80 years, you kind of feel like you want to live, like no one really wants to just die.
Yeah.
But it's still like, life is the longest thing you ever have to do in life. And is it worth it? Is it?
Define worth.
I mean, a lot of us are just struggling for just basic shit. What is the point of all this? And I mean, I have this issue within myself. What is the point? Like, I wake up in the morning sometimes, and I don't like waking up early. But I wake up early for my job, and I'm like, fam, what? Because I need a paycheck to live week to week. So...
What do you think is the purpose of life? If not to just have a job until you die?
I don't know. Searching and searching. And I don't want to, like, my whole life I'm going to search. When will I figure it out? When does it come to me? I don't know, maybe it's come to other people.
What if that's the meaning of life? You're searching for the meaning of life.
Taj.
Depressing life.
Yeah, but I mean, some people are living wonderful, full lives. I feel like maybe I'm doing it wrong. You know, like, maybe I have to figure out what's important to me. I mean, my family is important to me, but that doesn't put food on the table. My family won't make me starve, but when you need to, you have to make money, you have to go out there, and a lot of people are, while a lot of people are fulfilled, there are people who are just surviving. Like, what's all this for? I do have issues with that, and because I want to know, I ask the Lord, the universe, help me, show me, like, what am I supposed to do? Is it just make money and
die,
eat nice meals every day? At the very least, people should be able to have nice meals. That's like the best thing in life. People will splurge on a meal, but not on our shoes. The meal is important. People should be at the very least eating good. Like, I want to eat good today.
Did you say that backwards then? People will splurge on the shoes and not a meal?
Did I say that backwards?
You said people splurge on a meal and not shoes.
Right.
So what do you mean?
Meaning that the meal is more important to them than the shoe.
Oh, okay.
You want
okay,
to, like,
I got you.
like, you know want to buy something online or whatever. But I pay for a meal.
Yeah, I thought you were saying that we should be splurging on.
Yeah, and I get you. And people even struggle with that. Some people don't get to eat. Some people have to eat ration their food. You know, I wrote something on Twitter once. I have too much month at the end of the money. So you know when you just get paid and you're gonna go eat lobster and thing, and by the end of the month you're eating water crackers. You know water crackers? Yeah. Okay. It's just a lot of us are not living good, but you know you can say you set this out because I feel something is there. No, it was me. Is there anything there?
Oh no.
You edit that?
I guess I.
You have to.
No, we'll see.
What was I saying?
Something about needing to eat meals and live good lives, but I don't want to get too off topic though.
Right, I know. I don't want to. And I'll stop.
Because this is a whole nother thing.
Right, that is true, and I, you know, like sometimes you're talking about something and then it goes on. That's
how good conversation
goes on to other thing, which is why it's like hard to condense something and you
good
know.
Conversation.
Yeah, but I mean, you can say that you're living good life if you have love and family or whatever. But anyway,
and everybody's definition of a good life is not the same.
Right.
Which we'll go into the toxicity pods that we'll be doing. But I definitely wanted to bring you on for another major point. When we had a conversation about this a while ago, you told me that you felt that there was some real cultish behaviors when it comes to the church. Can you expound on that, please?
Well, how do you turn bread and wine into body and blood? And they really mean it. It's important to them. Why would I want to eat body and blood? I don't even eat meat. You know, like me not eating meat started in one thing and then went into another thing. It went into several other things. So one of the reasons is I don't like the idea of chewing on bone. I have bones and blood. Like there was blood here and now like.
That's so funny because as you're saying this, I'm like, damn, I could really go for a steak. Huh?
and medium rare, right? Nasty. When I used to eat steak, I've bun that up. I don't know what that life is like.
Yeah, that's disgusting, by the way.
But yeah, but like just even to say, why would I want to eat body? Hold on now. Okay,
I'm just letting you know.
Okay. Okay, but I mean sometimes but like why would I want to eat the body and drink the blood of anyone? Like that's cannibalistic. That's nasty. Like even like why is this a thing? Why is this so important to you? Like you have to get your you have to receive your first communion. And you know there were times in the Catholic Church when I was in it, if I wasn't there for a long time and if I hadn't confessed, they would say you can't receive the body and blood of Christ. You have to be reacclimated back into the church. You have to they never said these words, but it was essentially show that you're worthy of having this again. If I'm good, I'll eat broccoli. Like I just think that that's cultish and weird. Just the mere name, but eat the body and blood of Christ. It's bread and wine. And do you still you can like buy it on Amazon?
No.
By the way, those biscuits slap. And the wine is delicious.
Wait, are you talking about the ones from Amazon or just in church?
No, the one in church.
I never had it from a Catholic church because I grew up Baptist and Catholic. My mother was Baptist, my father was Catholic, and I went to Catholic school and trying to become Catholic. But by the end of it, I had so many questions and I was so frustrated. I was like, this shit is nonsense. And I never ended up taking Catholic communion. And
I like
in
the
our
taste,
Baptist church,
we only get one.
Yeah, and we only got one in Baptist church too.
It's not satisfying.
It wasn't. In Catholic church, they have like the little pieces of bread individual. In Baptist church, we used to just crush up crackers and
really?
eat those. Yeah, it was really good. I like that too. But I think that and again, this is going back to the first episode. I think that a lot of as black people, maybe it was different in Jamaica because it was black in Jamaica, but here it was, we are black, but the world is not. You know what I mean? So our black experience is so tied in with the black church, whether it be Baptist, Pentecostal, sometimes Catholic. There's so many layers and levels to it that we identify as, that when we lose the church, we lose a part of ourselves. That takes a long time to get back. Because
that was something that was brought from Africa, no?
Yep, and there's a person
and instilled.
There's a person that I want to speak to, a friend that I went to junior high school with. Haven't spoken to him in years, so it's going to be really awkward to try to get him on. But he practices African spirituality, and I would like to speak to him about that, because when you speak to a lot of old school Baptist preachers, they tell you that's anything that's not directly of the God that they present you is of the devil, and that's problematic.
But I mean, if you think about the fact that the Christian religion was brought by the white man and taught by the white man for a certain agenda, why would you want to continue that?
Yeah. Indoctrination has been the one thing that
sometimes you see the truth, it's right there, but it's so hard to believe it and then stray from it.
So here's the thing to me when it comes to that. I think that we had a similar conversation again off mic about looking at the world as cynical, right? We can look at the things and the history of white people and what they've done to our people to destroy us, but that doesn't mean that everything was wrong that they did, right? So maybe the God that
wasn't wrong.
No, I'm just giving an example, right?
Okay.
Maybe the God that they presented us with is the actual God of the universe. That's a very real possibility. Maybe that is God, but maybe they presented him to us in a way that they could use him as a controlling figure. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that makes sense, but also the God that they presented was the Old Testament God?
Both, Old and New. They gave the whole Bible when they came. But even before then, we had religions like Islam and Judaism. Like Christianity, I believe, is the youngest religion of the big three. So we had God. There was always a God, but the way that they presented him to us was in a way that they could manufacture control over us.
Right. But the Bible is there for everyone to read, though. And the Bible is not the best thing in the world.
No.
So either way, it's not looking too good.
No, so my issue, again, and this is exactly what I said in the beginning, my issue is not with God, it's with religion.
Right.
Because
but
religion
then back
is used,
to, what is God?
That's something.
Who is this? What is it?
That's something that you, I think, have to discover on your own. And as African Americans especially, we lean so much on religion that we sacrifice a relationship with God. In my opinion, I could be wrong, but I strongly doubt it. I feel like so many people base their relationship on God on what the Bible says or what the preacher tells them.
And so many people have ruined their lives.
100%.
Because God wouldn't want this. Or
they're chasing.
Some of the priests or pastors or whatever, they don't have the best interest at heart.
Yeah, and
they
that's
have their interest, but because you put so much stock in them, you believe what they say.
And that's going to go into what I want to say on a future episode about the Bible 2.0, which I mentioned earlier as well. The fact that there's an Old Testament where God was pretty much ruthless. You sin, you get struck down. And then there's a New Testament where God has grace, and he's not doing that the same way. The Bible was written thousands of years ago. Do we think that nothing has changed since then?
Right.
I was speaking to my mother about this last night. There's a chapter in the Bible, a whole chapter dedicated to the instructions on how to build this thing. I don't remember exactly what it was. I hate to sound ignorant when I come on here, but it's telling you 2 inches of this, 3 inches of this, 2 pieces of wood for this, And it's like, this is something that nobody ever uses now. Nobody at all. Why is this here? There are 66 books in the Bible, and there's about 13 to 18 that have been omitted from the Bible completely. Why is this something that needs to stay here today? When I build a house, I'm not looking at, oh, let me go find out what this is about. Why was that something that was so pertinent in the Bible? And I need somebody to explain that to me, because if that's so important, I feel like if you keep hearing God speak today, because we do, God still speaks to us today. He didn't just stop talking once the last chapter of the Bible was written. If he's still speaking today.
When you say that, what do you mean?
What
Speaking
do you mean?
Where, to who, how?
I've heard, okay. One of the biggest things about why I will never not believe in God is because I've seen things from heaven and things from hell. Let's put it that way. And I've heard his voice, and I know that that was him. I talk about this experience in church one time when I was asking, like, is God real, or is this all a facade? Is this all just like, what are we doing here? What if this is all fake, and when we die, we're just dead? And is he real? Is he real? And then that same service, there was a woman that came in that couldn't walk, and she hadn't walked in years. She was an older woman. My pastor picks her up, and they were walking side by side, and then not walking side by side, like he was carrying her and telling her that God said to walk. And so her feet are dragging, and then she starts walking, right? And immediately after that, clear as day, I heard God, I know it was him, say, any more questions? Like a real cocky, arrogant, godlike answer. And I was like, that was you, my bad, we'll move on. On the flip side of that, I've also seen spirits. I've seen people come under attack by demons. And I don't mean seen it like I heard about it in church. No, I've physically seen it with my own eyes. So I know that if there's one side, there's definitely the other. And since I've experienced both sides of it, I'll never not believe. Some things are experienced and pretty difficult to put into words and explain.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
That's the whole point of this show.
Yeah.
It's a journey. We're going to figure out things as we go. And this will be in the mission statement, basically, for the first episode. The reason I'm so adamant about going towards churches and going at churches is because it's such a large part of a black boy's upbringing, especially in America. So much of who I am was based off of what I was taught and what I learned and what I experienced in church. So as I'm growing older and I'm starting to see the hypocrisy in church, and I'm starting to see the hypocrisy of people, it makes me step back and question who I am as a person. And that can hinder me on my journey to be a man. Right. Because at 23, I thought, I got this figured out. I know what I am. I know who I'm supposed to be. Whole time I was questioning because I've always been logical. But then when you get to this point, you're like, okay, everything I thought I knew, I have to reassess. I have to break it down. Like, because
we're shown so much more now. Mm-hmm. We are exposed to so much more. I mean, when I'm back with my son in Jamaica, he won't be living with my mother, so he's not going to be exposed to church. If she calls and says, "Hey, I want to pick up Kai for mass," Malachi, do you want to go for mass? That's his choice. Mm-hmm. But he won't grow up in that. So I think that this whole thing, it's all a learning experience. We're all unlearning and relearning, and we all have our own journey. I just don't... I try not to judge others for their journey. If you're religious, that's don't... I'm not going to bring anything up to you. Don't bring anything up to me. You do your own thing.
And I think that's what it all boils down to. Just, if you do what you do, I do what I do. As long as it's not something that's harmful to one another, it's okay. Yeah,
and there's nothing, like if you're into the Bible and everything, there's nothing you can really say to me. Because I don't, like I said, I don't know much about it, but I know that they said eating lobster is a sin. I bet you're chowing down on some lobster. And they said don't mix fabrics, that's a sin. don't eat pork, don't eat this.
There's a lot of things.
I know
there.
you're shopping at Fashion Nova.
There's a lot
so
of stuff in the Bible that's like deeply misogynistic too.
So misogynistic.
But you have to remember that the Bible is not written by God. It's written by, it's people, Christians will tell you, it's written by man under the influence of God.
Which man?
Exactly.
The white man.
Exactly.
Okay.
But
very important.
I think we're gonna go overtime.
Yeah.
So I don't want. We can split this up to another episode.
Okay.
Maybe via Zoom or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to like shout out or anything?
Sure. I don't care about Instagram. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's called One Life with. No, that's my email. It's called.
And the password.
It's Life with Dilly. So I'm gonna be really showcasing my moving back to Jamaica and my life in Jamaica, which is going to be really nice. You're gonna come visit. Come out into the island sun, eat some jerk chicken.
Jamaican jerk.
Oxtail. You can't say Jamaican
jerk
chicken.
I know.
Now, like I was just gonna go over and we're gonna talk about that. It's just jerk chicken.
I want some oxtail.
Yeah.
Some straight from the island oxtail. Not
straight from Jamaica. Yeah. But jerk chicken is Jamaican. You just say jerk chicken. Imagine you're in Jamaica and you say, can I have some Jamaican
All right, guys. I thank you guys for joining us.
Don't get me started.
Thanks for listening to another episode of my journey. Black Boy Lost. Love you guys.
Subscribe.
God bless. Take care. Oh, leave a like and comment and all that.